All right. Welcome. This is Dynasty, the podcast show. I am your host, Ira Bush. I just want to say thank y'all for tuning in. I appreciate all those who are continuing to just, quietly watch and support. I get a couple views, I might get 100 views. I don't know how this works, but I appreciate those who take the time out to at least, come on, put their time in, I don't know how long, just put their time in some throughout the day and take a walk, take a look. Now, first and foremost, I just want to be grateful to I just want to be one thing I'm grateful about is just having to become the leader that I actually am and not choosing the path to just choosing to do things, if I see things not going my way, not being, how you say it, like I try not to be mean about having a opinion or having a train of thought or having a way of life. And I try to share my experiences and laugh about them, even if they were tough at the time of them happening. So that's what a lot of this show is about. Today's show is called Unequal Plot. So we're going into part two of talking about the Secretary Education's testimony that happened last week, and we're gonna give the real information and break down the film of it and what she said and what the people were who were asked the question said, and just giving our honest opinion on how it came off and how I feel about those that whole situation. And it's pretty tough, when you this is gonna be probably a 4-day thing. I can't tell you y'all won't get into it, the breakdown of it, if I just go right into the whole 3 hours, because it's a lot of holes. This person is very unprepared. This is not the person that's supposed to be running our education system at all, doing any note taking. Everything was every rebuttal she had was, "I'll get back to you. I don't know. What does that mean? I have lack of understanding," and all this and that. So just like that's not the answers we need right now. Not in 2025. You don't come up there with being unprepared. I don't think this person is gonna. It's only been 100 days, a little bit over 100 days into this administration of the presidency. So I don't. Excuse me, it's a lot going on. Remember, it's like people coming in and out, not in this room, but right in front of me. So be mindful of that. Sorry about that. But it's a lot of holes. Now, today was a big day. Remember, I was talking about them saying, first and foremost, I was talking about them saying that the policy 1000, that was geared towards, what I had an experience last year going to I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist. I don't know if everybody's that have the ability to telepathically hear or what is going on globe. I would say definitely in the United States and definitely in Florida with the telepathic abilities. People having the satellites up and the us getting our shots, and how they want to wire you up to control you, and it's just the United States. It probably happens in other countries. Happens, I don't know for sure. I live only in the United States, so I'm not being an advocate like a person deterring what they were trying to do, but I do know they tested and they destroyed a lot of people's lives trying to come up with a way to control people's mental and mentality and way of life, and trying to destroy families. They destroy families on the way to that. Now, like I was trying to say, last year I had an incident where I had like a apparent sense of them trying to corrupt and destroy my child's, get her off her path of being a principal dean's list student, and trying to mock me at the same time, as well as embarrass her at the age of 9 years old. And it's all geared towards the white supremacist groups, the hate groups, the sellouts that supports them as well. They tried to, to make me mad. They tried to attack my daughter, and that's not, and it was very embarrassing on my family, defaming my family name, defaming my father and grandfather and my mother and my grandmothers and aunts and uncles, all that legits of that. And the way they made it portrayed, it reeked of ignorance. It reeks of arrogance of power, and the power that they want to take from what my family earned, not given. Like, it was earned, it was inherited, it's what we're born with. So you got to actually be born with the stuff to go out here and accomplish things and be great. So that 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 was short lived. That, what they call embarrassing, and showing the United States real. I guess that's what it was called. Because in the real world, I'm big still. My daughter's going to be bigger, and my same with the rest of my family. So I don't. Now that I'm on the, that when I was made aware, I had to go about it in a certain way to so they won't call me a monster or angry or whatever. So I went in today for the meeting, and the whole schedule changed. The LGBT community was in full force. They had he was running around with, the one guy who told me, I don't know if he's a part of the LGBT community, but I think he is. And then he had got his flunky with him. He was doing the most. He bought the news, Channel 10 News for Broward out there. They was out there, with their pom poms and whistles, trying to, like I said, demasculate a real man that has trained people from Miami, Broward, Palm Beach, Pinellas County, Pasco, you name it. I've been everywhere as a coach. I'm not on that side of the fence, so we never going on that fence over there. And then they checked the record for what I come from. It wasn't never on that side of the fence, so I got to go against these low level, very, if you go about the old ways in the old guard, they degenerates. I don't have time for those. I'm not really hating on you or what you do. I'm letting you know it's not what I do. So we're gonna knock this, y'all. We're gonna go above y'all. We're gonna just line it up, and we're gonna stack greatness on top of, we're gonna, it ain't happening. It ain't going down. So I was not able to speak how I wanted to, but I came prepared. So I signed up. I was a little agitated because I knew that what the plot was when I was gonna go up there and speak. But I got my 1.5 minute in before they kicked me off the stage for another 1.5 minutes. So I went up. First thing I did, I was like, okay, this is my name is Ira Thomas Bush the Fourth. This is my birth certificate. This is my child Anaya Melanie Bush's certificate. Nobody need to get misconstrued of who I am and what I came here for. I don't have time for y'all, this committee, that committee mad about this, blah blah blah, and then all these third parties want to put their hand in the pot of a very chosen child. That ain't going down. And I'm not making it an individual thing. This has happened in my in when it comes to my generation, my older cousins, me, my sisters, my other cousins, like all of us have gotten attacked in the education system of jealousy and hate because of what we come from. This is facts. And we all still ended up being very successful at the end on both sides. And it's gonna continue, but we're not gonna send now. It's time for me to do what I do the best and the greatest at. And they ain't seen the last of me. So I went up there. Like I said, they got all this high tech, how they want to control me and feel like they think they got some kind of, mind, or, make me sleep and tired. And, They like to say, one of the favorite things our president like to say, make them unwoke and all that, blah blah blah, just so they can feel like they're entitled and power over you. But it ain't even about that. It's about what we born as and what the DNA says. So I talked about this early in the first previous episodes in the beginning of starting this. This just what it is. Like, and it's rearing its ugly head again. But I went in, I did what I had to do, dropped the mic and left. I sat down and then I just like, I'm not gonna make a scene about leaving, but I wasn't staying for no 2 hours. I gotta go do my own show. I don't want to care about y'all pom poms and pony show. We ain't on that. So we left. We got back over to Palm Beach. We still got a lot of blah 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 going on, but it is that you guys gotta accept what it is. So man, I just gotta, that's what happened in the community, the local community, the local politics. That's just my day in life of being me. I don't make big deals about what has really went on, but it's just me. You know what I'm saying? And my tree's strong, but it still get attacked. When they got the Hurricane 5, the what I call it, it's more like the they got the storm center. They create Hurricane 5s for the 100,000, the 1,000-year tree. That's what mine is. Greatness. Every year it got a new set of crops coming down that's full of life. So they want to knock that tree down, but it ain't gonna be knocked down because God said this is what it is. Y'all are creating something in the lab. This is what comes from the ground. So it is what it is. You take that how you want to take it. Now, let's move on because I don't want to make this an individualized thing because we got a lot to go on. This is a special show. We're breaking down the testimony of somebody who do not know nothing about education, and we got to figure it out. It was some great people speaking and talking. Continuing on what we was talking about yesterday. And yeah, let's get to right to that. Sorry if I offended anybody. I don't really care if I did. You offended me last year. You disrespected my family, so I don't care. I care, but I don't. Take it how you want it. And we still got a lot to go because it's still happening. It's still like I said. We get up every morning. We gonna get up and motivated. Still, definitely me. And, you attacking females. That's very weak. And that's how I feel about it. You lucky, like I look at it like this. Y'all got us tied like this to not really attack y'all physically, but y'all want us to sit there and act. And then y'all want to have the authority to go out here and attack physically. And y'all got all these tap dancing people that's supposed to be helping the women. I don't know. It's a lot of tap dances out there. I ain't tap dancing. I'm just giving you the information how it goes. So yeah, let's get to it, man. Let's get to the education. Let's get back to the children. And on a broad scale, the main scale in America, I don't really, it's a lot of stuff in America that I'm not for, but I do want to correct the education system. They're not going to tear down the thing in the Constitution that they need to, but they want to go attack all these NAACP groups that they started up, programs, and they attack all these black urban separate, because they really got to remember that they was the ones begging to come together and combine black and white when we were separate and we're supposed to be having equal. You know, we made a lot with the least amount. We made the old books look like the brand new books because it was the same education. It was just ripped up and turned up pages in it. So y'all can't get mad when we put glue on, put tape and glue, put the pages back up, and we still get the same information and go way beyond what y'all was doing. That ain't my fault. So let's get to it, man. Let's continue. We're gonna continue. We're gonna break it down. Again, the question was so straight and narrow. I do not know what she's. I could get an answer. I can give you an answer from that, and I ain't even in the administration. He said, "Let's repeat it what he said because I don't want to say really misconstrued words." And she said, "What do you mean by that?" Like, I'm like, did she hear what he said? Did you, like, he said, a private entity having a different viewpoint. Do you agree with the administration targeting and basically finding, firing, destroying, whatever kind of work she want to go? He was very nice about it. So she said, "What do you mean by that?" So I'm gonna break it down for her. So let's continue. Let's Google punish. Cause that was not a hard word. That's the word you learn in elementary. So let's Google punish. Punishment. Imposing a penalty of retribution for an offense. That is what punishment means. So he said punishment. She said, "What does that mean?" Like, dang, you was in WWE, like you be beating on people, like they use that word and stuff. You know, penalizing, punishing, discipline, retribution, defamation, damnation. Excuse me. Whatever word she want to use, we breaking it down for you. So let's continue. He went in. He wasn't even playing. He said, "Let's move on." Now, the question was, before she answered her roundabout question answering, okay, first and foremost, Ivy Leagues, I believe most Ivy Leagues are private schools, if not all of them, most of them are. I'm not saying all of them are, but most of them are. Meaning private, meaning your own circles, like your own group of people, your own group of teaching, your own group of, and then this is Ivy League. This is higher learning supposedly. So it's like you got that, you got what the other stuff has, and this, and that already, and you already come in with a certain kind of education from your high school. When you go to these Ivy League, you already have certain degree, classes completed. So you don't need the classes that other people are taking in university to get into Ivy League. You already tested out at the highest level. And a lot of these tests that you take in high school come from Harvard, Columbia, Yale, whatever Ivy League. Those are the ones that are creating these tests and for the high school to take the pass to even get considered to go there. So let's see what she say. And I'm like, I'm like, I'm not even trying to go to Ivy League, so I'm not sitting here stressing it. But I'm confused about how they want to go in there and knock everything down. And these people are definitely, with their vocabulary and their intellectual property being what it is. And I'm not dissing Trump or her, but it don't come off to me as very high level. It comes off to me as very, I got some sense, I got some money. I was, my parents set me up pretty good. I could sound good and make people laugh. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm cool. These are the type of energy that they, I don't know her as much, but Trump, try to be funny and cool and all that good stuff and be an entertainer as well as tell people what to do, which is, it can only got you this far. Why stop? So, I want to play golf all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like I ain't in the books, I ain't writing books. You know what I'm saying? I got somebody sitting here telling, writing it. You know how it goes. So I don't know. Let's see what she say. I'm lost with that. That. See, some of this stuff I don't be knowing, and I be like, I don't really like. I care, but the Holocaust we learned that in seventh grade. That's the first time I remember doing like a report, testing. It was real history, like in detail. I ain't saying I didn't learn stuff at home. I would be lying if I didn't know. But I didn't know the understanding of like why they made big deal out of Jews until I was in the real history. Like we knew, but we didn't know. So you might have took world history sixth grade. You might have took a fifth grade if you were super advanced. And you went to like a magnet school and you learned history, some special science, history, whatever. But this is why America construction is not correct and properly done. They have the Jewish community pent up as this golden goose of make everybody feel sad and they had the Holocaust. Give them millions of dollars and billions of dollars of sadness, and every year they re up off this Holocaust debacle or period of time. They still eating off of it. Then we have the same kind of history of slavery, rape, enslaving minds of black, raping the men, and doing all this on the islands off the shore of America, and whatever history that they done told everybody from college to high school and even middle school if you went to advanced school. They did not give us our stuff, our house and the mule. They had us entrapped and still got us basically trying to put us in war with our motherland still when they go over there and create chaos all the time. Not as bad as it used to be, but they try their best. So why y'all putting these making this going putting the Jewish community into like we have to learn about the Jewish community. That's like, what does that mean? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what third party is making that a big deal? You know what I'm trying to say? And I look at it like I don't have time. Like, it is what it is. Like, we need to figure that out. Like, that doesn't need to be a big deal. Like, move on. Y'all getting paid still daily off the Holocaust, and it's 2025. So let's get on with y'all life. Y'all figured it out. Y'all already got a certain position in society where y'all make money. Y'all got this whole, money and control of the media and the laws, and you know what I'm saying. They already got their hands all in. Like, I don't know what they want. So we don't need to remember that because they ain't even remembering the real ancestors and the real high power gods on a daily basis, and they definitely ain't paying it. They definitely don't want us to get the resources. So we need to remember those things. So we're gonna move on, continue to listen. This should be it. This part, his segment will be over soon. Mm. There you have it. They don't believe in what she's doing. They don't believe she's giving proper answers. They don't believe she's prepared. And that's the same thing I got from the beginning of when she started talking. And this is only an hour in. Like I said, it's a 3 hour testimony. So we're gonna move on, move ahead. I hate to sound like I'm critiquing her extra hard, but it's pretty blatant how it was. So we gonna move on, skip over the cheerleaders and the peanut gallery. They're very small, and we gonna go to the real. Okay. Now I like how she came. This is how you. This is how. Okay, they probably around the same age, but this is the elder woman. Probably been in the game for a long time. She came very prepared, but she did not come with what do you say, a set judgment about how she's going to come off in this. Her basically her world's first testimony. You know, this is a long one. This is one of those. You know, you get set down by some old veterans, and all these people came super prepared. They all have some real stripes behind their political realm or their political background. So when she came at her, she's like, "Well, get back to it." Like she said she reached out to her multiple times. She never got back to her, so she could have had these answers beforehand, and and she still was very nice. So I appreciate this person for doing that for her. Make sure the next time we come in the testimony and you actually get back to this person because she let you down very easily. You still were very unprepared. You didn't have a lot of answers for her. So we need to make sure we have answers and solutions, and that's the main thing of being a secretary is figuring out what you need to do. Figuring out that, when you get a problem or you have issues with in your camp, or even if it's Democrat or Republican, you're over a very important part of America, which is education. So you got to have answers because it's all groups of people, whether you're Republican, Democrat, or Independent. So we got to have some. We got to have it. We got to have things together. So we're gonna move on. This is gonna be the last clip for today. I was gonna play, but I don't. I really do not want to stay. I don't want to bore people. I want people to catch what I was talking about with my experience today, and also get information from today, and be prepared tomorrow because we're gonna move on and we're gonna go straight into the education, and we're gonna stay focused on it. It was today was education for our as, but it was very personal. So I want people to check into make sure their child is getting treated properly in school. They're doing the end of the year boardroom meetings and all that. Don't let stuff go over your head. Don't let your child get manipulated improperly because the teachers are getting weirder, and clearly the lady had a problem with me speaking up. So it's clearly some third party, some old white supremacist members in the highest part of education still in Florida. So they need to make sure they know the history of it. They need to make sure they're doing their job like I told them when I was leaving. And that's basically what it comes down to. Now let's get to we're gonna get to the last one. We're gonna come back to it. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up. It's the last. All right, I'm gonna play that back. This is I don't know if she's a representative or a congresswoman or however, they got different titles for different people. But she just has Miss Lee up there. So MS Lee. So I'm gonna have to look her up. I like how she started. I love people who come point, point. This is my whole thing is what she said right out the jump. Y'all are going back to some old kill black and browns. You know what I'm trying to say? Like y'all on some make sure they at the bottom and we're not taking their intellectual seriously and also trying to transform our athletic ability by deteriorate us by doing hexes and witches and all this betting on us and hoping we have a broken leg by the third game with all these backhand spelling y'all doing that we already done been hip to. That reason why we don't need y'all to even be associated with the leagues that I want to have, which is our own leagues, which is closed off to y'all eyes, even y'all ears and y'all thoughts. So y'all think it's gonna be big. Trust me, it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Like it's gonna be some. I don't really care about people that want to still be in the. I grew up watching professional leagues and all that, but it's gonna happen and they want to. They were literally trying to take over HBCUs by throwing money at these people in traditional institutions because they're all institutions. But we don't need these people. We have people who need to put their money into their own and go back into what we had those thousands, all those baseball teams that were just black and brown people in it, literally. So, we could do basketball like that, we could do baseball like that. And, I don't really want to deal with. This is the beginning of this year. It probably was 2024 it started, but these are the times. Like if y'all watch that Cat Williams interview where he was talking about people telling the truth and people who are frauds and the sellouts being not important anymore. This is definitely that time. I don't care what they doing to stay in place, but it's definitely that. And I was completely with them. But it was just like when it comes to me talking, I had to make sure my time was on point. So let's continue. I'm gonna start it back over for when she started, so we don't miss nothing she said. And there we have it, everybody. We're finished today. Well, I'm not finished. I kind of want to end it like that. That girl, woo, I gotta look her up too. I like what we're doing over there. I think I really want, I want y'all to know that there's a lot of youth that's going on. These people look like, they not that probably my age or a little bit older, if not. And I appreciate the youth that's going on, and we being there asking questions, we being here, making sure they standing on what they said, and thank you guys, thank you everywhere, amen. But no, for real, man. Like, hopefully everything gets situated and this bill don't mess up and ruin the lives of a lot of people, like they trying to do. This lady literally said that, I don't get how it's like they want one-sided stories. Like, this is 2025. Like, we were taught this much. We were literally, when you say you expect that. It's like they were so arrogant when they were giving us education about history that we wouldn't decipher it and actually know that our parents would teach us what actually happened. We didn't have to tell y'all what they told us, but teach us exactly what happened. Let y'all tell y'all lies for so long, and then boom, once we start slap y'all upside the head, because y'all know this because your parents was laughing and dancing and celebrating when you was hanging people from the trees and chopping them up, eating them, and whatever ceremonies they was doing to celebrate death and demise of the Black community and the Native community or the African descendant community, whatever they was doing, we know about it. So you cannot hide. You cannot hide. You have to tell the truth. Y'all looking sick out here. So let's get the, get your weight up, get your energy up for yourself, for your own tree. Your tree's dying. You need help. So, don't go over here trying to attack people when you already, and I'm not even talking about her specifically. I'm talking about overall the white supremacist groups and the Jim Crow's laws they want to conjure up and bring back out and separate themselves. Y'all ain't even got the stability to do it. Y'all ain't got the girth to do it. Y'all ain't got the muscle to do it. All y'all gonna do is do nasty, deceitful, spiritual government, half of our army units over here being, treasonous. Like, it's very ill right now. So, hopefully they get their mind right, get things together. So, I ain't gonna say too much. I'm gonna end it on I like to end it on sports. So people, the people that's not at the level of thinking and at the level of maturity that I am, I'm gonna let them have some fun when I talk about, because there ain't even that much sports going on. I think we got a couple WNBA games going on tonight. I didn't watch no games. We got the Indiana Fever versus Atlanta Dream, the Chicago Sky versus New York Liberty. Atlanta Dream, Indiana Fever, pretty balanced. I might say that, Indiana got a, big missing piece. So Atlanta's at home. They probably going to win. It's going to be a close game still. Atlanta, Boston's pretty tough. Then you got the New York Liberty that's 8-0. The Chicago Sky, they're 2-5. Chicago Sky's on the road. They're in New York. Hopefully they focus enough to be prepared on the road because they're not looking too good. They have not, they need help at guard. They have not finished well under the basket. It's Marlins and the Rays. If you're in Florida like I am, Marlins and Rays play tonight. Check those out. And then we got the UFL championship game this Saturday. You can check that out. I have not watched that at all. So that was a quick little sports review. I don't really have time to go back and forth. I just, I'm only here because, y'all seen, at the beginning of this, I got other stuff on my mental that I don't, I love sports. But and I love helping the community. I do that for fun. I do that because I love it. I have the passion for that. That's my career. That's my duty. I'm on earth to speak. I'm on earth to motivate. I'm on earth to raise children and my children and the community up. I ain't on that. So when y'all coming over here with this demonic, Debbie Downer, it's not going my way. Let's go bully the black people in the United States as well as out in space in these smaller countries and weaker countries or whatever they want to call it in themselves. So do terrors or whatever they try to do to do a power ship. It's not gonna work this time. So let's get on track. Let's try to work out properly. Let's have understanding that it's already a tide shifting of transitioning to the real leaders, the real motivators, the real powerful people and beings in this world. You gotta have an understanding that that's what it is. So we're gonna end it on that note. This is Dynasty the Podcast Show. I am your host, Ira Bush. Make sure y'all tune in tomorrow. And man, just just be you. Have a good, enjoy the rest of your evening and the rest of your day. Thank you.